Hello guys, today we are going to see about VLAN troubleshooting. So let's write it down to for. Let's say we are going to do VLAN troubleshooting. So guys, the best things that in VLAN troubleshooting, the one of the best commands is show VLAN brief. Let me just type it. So show VLAN brief is one of the best commands in VLAN troubleshooting. So this show VLAN brief will tell you which is the VLAN that's configured in your switch, and in that VLAN which are the interfaces which are mapped to that VLAN, and whether the VLAN is active and it's all working fine. What is the media type? Which are the interfaces connected to that VLAN? Another good command to remember for here is show interface status. Show interface status will show you the interface status, whether the interface which are in that switch are up and working, which is down, or some other switch is it is up but the line protocol is down. Another command to remember while VLAN troubleshooting is show monitor. Some of your traffic would be in monitor sessions and it will be in line protocol down. That time, what you do is give a no monitor session one, and then you go and check the interface. Probably your interface will be up. I'm just giving an overall idea of the troubleshooting that happens in your switch. So with the VLAN can be active, the VLAN cannot be. So you need to remember a number of steps. So when a switch is connected to another switch, so if you want to introduce a VLAN first into a switch, the command is you go into the config mode and type VLAN and whatever is the VLAN ID. So if it's VLAN 100, you just give VLAN 100. If you want to create another more VLANs, you can give comma 200, 300 and will create the VLANs. If you want to give a name to the VLAN, you give VLAN 100 and then you can give a name to the VLAN as engineering or you want to. Now, so you need to make sure that what are the VLANs in that switch. So you know that every switch will have a management IP, and that management IP will be the subnet of a particular VLAN. The switch will have neighbors to its switches which are connected to its access if there is an access switch. If you want to map that VLAN to a port, so you go in config mode. So you go to config mode and give interface fast Ethernet 0/1, and then you give switch port mode access and switch port allowed access VLAN. You have to give what is the VLAN that you allow. So you give first whether it's access port VLAN, then you need to give switch port allowed VLAN 10 or 20, so which are or 100 which you want to allow in that VLAN. So once you do that, you allow that VLAN into the you allow the make the interface mapped to the corresponding VLAN. So that's important. Another thing, when you want to check the neighbors which is connected to the switch, you give show CDP neighbors. This will tell you which are the neighbors which is connected to the switch, and you give like this is the host name of which these are the host names in this port it is connected to. So if you want to check what is the IP of the corresponding neighbor switch, you can give show CDP entry and the host name, whichever host name is it. If it is hnx.com or whatever host name, you can get the IP address of the switch, and you can connect the switch IP address using party, secure CRT, the modes that you can use to connect to the switch. So what are the issues? So how to check the MAC address in a switch? So in a switch, you give show MAC hyphen. So if you know the MAC address of the switch, you can give show MAC hyphen MAC address, whichever is the address, the address they.ff. So you can give show MAC hyphen MAC address, and that address, if you give the MAC address, it will show in which interface, and that interface which is mapped to that VLAN, this MAC address is learned. You can find the MAC address of the interface which is connected with that corresponding MAC address. Okay. So these are quite a few ideas to while you're troubleshooting the Cisco Catalyst switches, the access switches, and how the VLAN works, how your the MAC the MAC address table in your switches work. So if you want to check version of the switch, you can give show version. It will show you the version of the switch. If you want to check the environment alarm in the switch, show environment detail all. It will show you, it depends on the switch. The command iOS, depending on the iOS, it will vary. It will get the environment alarms which are there in the switch. You can give show uptime, that will show you the uptime if the switch has gone down and come up. With that command, you can add you can know what is the uptime of the corresponding switch. So while troubleshooting a switch, if you are not able to ping the switch from a particular kind of server, you are not able to access the switch. You need to find out when you give a console access to the switch, whether what are the other issues, whether the VLAN is in shutdown state. So those kind of troubleshooting you need to perform. So let's log into this switch to see what's happening. So let's go into the CLI mode, give enable. So the first command I'm going to give is show VLAN brief. So this, see here, VLAN 1, and these are the different VLANs which are mapped to that VLAN 1. So if you want to configure the VLAN, go to config team and give VLAN 100, name whatever VLAN you want to give, name engineering. One thing that you have to do whenever you do anything, make sure you write it. The another thing that you can do is copy running config to startup. So whenever there is a power issue, you start up, you should not go back to your old configuration. So it is all saved and fine. So now you give the same command, show VLAN brief. Now you see here, there is a VLAN 100 and it is in active mode. If you want to map fast Ethernet 0/1 to it, you have to give interface fast Ethernet 0/1 and then give switch port mode access and then switch port loud switch port. So what are the options? Switch port access, it will give you access VLAN 100. You give exit. You give the same command, show VLAN brief. Now you see here in the VLAN 100, the fast Ethernet 0/1 is mapped. I'm considering fast Ethernet 0/1 as an access port which is connected to your LAN wireless computer in any building. So I'm giving the next command I'm going to see is show interface status. So this command is a very good command to show which are the interfaces. So this interface, it says it's not connected and it is mapped under VLAN 100. So there is no physical connectivity given to this fast Ethernet 0/1 that we need to troubleshoot. This is one of the main ways that you can see. So let's see the command show monitor. So there is no span configuration present in this system. So if you want to give monitor, you need to give monitor in global mode, monitor session 1, monitor session. So you give 1, and which is the source. So I'm giving source interface. So this interface fast Ethernet 0/1. I'm going to add it. So give show monitor. Now you see that the session says the source monitor, which is monitored, is fast Ethernet 0/1. So next command is show interface fast Ethernet 0/1 switch port. So you see here the operational mode is down, the switch port is enabled, is static access, and it's a VLAN engineering. And you can see the mode, the operational mode is down at this stage. To find out how sometimes, like when you're monitoring, when it's in a span mode, you have to go undo the configuration in the switch and put it back again to see it. Now I'm giving another command, show CDP neighbor. There's no neighbor connected to this switch, so I'm not seeing any neighbor at this stage. So these are a few commands to see that your VLAN is working fine. So now, how to see the management IP in this VLAN? So I'm giving show running config. So this switch should be configured with, we have not given any IP address for this switch at this stage. If you want to give a IP address to this switch and you want to map to VLAN 100, then you can create it as a SVI. So if I'm going to give interface VLAN, if I'm going to give interface VLAN 100, so you see that the VLAN is still, and then you can give whatever IP address is 10.0.0.155.55.55.0 and exit. Give show VLAN Brief. So you see the status, and you can give show interface VLAN 100. So VLAN 100 is up there, but the line protocol is down. If you want to see the IP, show running configuration and interface VLAN. So let's give show running config. You should see here in the interface VLAN, we are able to configure the IP address. These are some of the few things that you can see in any. So if you want to see the version of the switch, it is show version. If you want to see the environment, you see here, this is a C920 LAN based image. It's a LAN based. It's not an IP based. It's a LAN based, and that's what is the corresponding whatever software version is there. If you want to give show environment, this which doesn't show, so show uptime. So it depends on various kind of wireless switches that we have used. This is a common idea of like what are the commands that we can use during VLAN troubleshooting. So when we do VLAN troubleshooting, we need to have a set of commands in our mind to make sure that we type it quickly to understand. If someone wants to configure an interface to a particular VLAN, Then you have to go to interface, switch port VLAN, and whichever is the access port VLANs, you need to add to that particular VLAN. You can do some analysis in existing switches to understand more on how the traffic flow happens in a switch, and how what are the configurations for your better understanding. Hope this session of like the VLAN troubleshooting is helpful for you. Have a good day, guys.